In the heart of the prairie, where the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and orange, lived a rustler known only as Waylon. He was a figure wrapped in mystery, with a reputation that echoed through the small towns and wide open spaces. Dressed in worn leather boots and a wide-brimmed hat that cast a shadow over his sharp blue eyes, Waylon was not just another cattle thief. He was an adventurer at heart, always searching for hidden treasures and untold stories beneath the endless sky. Waylon's adventures took him to places few dared to explore. He could often be found riding his horse, Dusty, across rugged terrain, scouting for anything unusual or remarkable. Unlike the rest of the rustlers who relied on brute force, he used his wits and charisma to navigate both men and beasts alike. Stories circulated about how he once uncovered an ancient relic hidden in a riverbank or how he could charm even the fiercest of cattle into submission. But what truly set Waylon apart was his ongoing quest for treasure. Real treasure that sparkled under the sun and brought fortune to those brave enough to seek it. His dreams of gold coins and hidden loot fueled his spirit. And it was this very passion that would lead him to create something extraordinary. A treasure map tattooed directly onto the hide of one of his most prized cows. Little did he know, this act would turn into a legend that would capture the hearts of many across the prairie. One starry night, with the moon casting a silvery glow over the prairie, Waylon leaned against his barn, dreaming of the treasures he'd heard about from old cowhands by the campfire. Inspired, he decided to create a treasure map that would lead anyone brave enough to follow it to a hidden fortune. But instead of drawing it on parchment, Waylon had an idea that was as bold as it was unique. He would tattoo the map onto the hide of his most loyal cow, Daisy. With careful precision, Waylon gathered his tools and prepared for the task. He started by sketching out a rough design on a piece of leather, using landmarks familiar to him, like the tall oak tree at Crest Hill and the winding river near Flat Rock. Each symbol he chose held meaning. The oak represented strength, while the river symbolized the journey. With his heart racing in excitement, he used a special ink made from natural dyes to start creating intricate markings on Daisy's smooth hide. As he worked, Waylon felt a sense of magic in the air. He added details like a compass rose, indicating directions for those who would seek the treasure, along with dotted lines leading from one landmark to another. When at last he finished, Daisy stood proudly, her skin adorned with a stunning map that whispered of adventure and hidden riches. This tattoo not only transformed her into a living treasure chest, but also sparked tales that would soon spread far and wide across the prairie. Just days after Waylon finished tattooing the treasure map on Daisy, dark clouds began to gather ominously in the sky. A thunderstorm rolled in quickly, sending a chill through the air as wind whipped across the prairie. The first crack of thunder startled the cattle, causing them to panic and scatter in all directions. Waylon rushed out of his barn, heart racing, as he realized the full extent of the chaos unfolding before him. With rain pouring down and lightning illuminating the night sky, Waylon struggled to keep his herd together. Cows mooed frantically, their hooves thundering against the muddy ground as they sought refuge from the tempest. Dusty, Waylon's trusty horse, whinnied nervously, sensing the urgency of the moment. Waylon shouted to calm his scattered cattle, but the storm drowned out his voice. As he chased after them, he spotted Daisy, her tattooed hide glowing eerily under flashes of lightning. She had bolted towards a nearby grove of trees, leading several other cows with her. Knowing that losing Daisy could jeopardize the treasure map and its legend, Waylon pushed forward through the rain-soaked grass. Despite the challenges posed by the storm, Waylon's determination remained unshaken. He called out to his herd, guiding them with a mix of patience and urgency. Little did he know that this unexpected challenge would only add to the legend surrounding Daisy and her remarkable map, setting the stage for a new adventure amidst the tempest. As the storm passed and calm returned to the prairie, whispers of Waylon's tattooed cow began to spread like wildfire among the local cowboys and townsfolk. It started at the saloon, where ranchers gathered to swap stories over mugs of coffee and plates of beans. One cowboy, still buzzing from the excitement of the storm, shared how he had seen Daisy bolting through the rain, her hide glistening with a mysterious map. The mention of treasure ignited a spark in the room. Soon, word traveled beyond the saloon to nearby homesteads and campsites. Children listened wide-eyed as their parents recounted tales of Waylon's daring adventures and his remarkable cow. "A treasure map on a cow. Can you believe it?" they would exclaim, their imaginations running wild with dreams of gold and hidden fortunes. As more cowboys learned about Daisy, a sense of adventure filled the air. Groups began to form, each eager to set out on their own quest for the treasure. Some even claimed to have deciphered parts of the map based on what they had heard, adding to the growing excitement. Rumors swirled that Daisy could lead them to riches beyond their wildest dreams. Before long, the legend of Waylon's tattooed cow became a staple of prairie folklore. It inspired songs sung around campfires and stories told late into the night. What started as a simple act of artistry had transformed Daisy into a symbol of adventure, igniting curiosity and daring hearts across the vast plains. As the legend of Daisy spread, treasure hunters began to gather from near and far, each with their own reasons for seeking the hidden fortune. Among them was a brave young cowboy named Jake, known for his quick reflexes and unwavering spirit. With dreams of adventure dancing in his eyes, Jake set out on his horse, Bella, determined to find Daisy and the treasure that had captivated everyone's imagination. Not far behind him rode a cunning outlaw named Eliza. She was clever and resourceful, with a reputation for getting what she wanted. Hearing about the tattooed cow sparked her interest. She too wanted to claim the treasure for herself. Eliza decided to follow Jake secretly, convinced that his youthful enthusiasm would lead her straight to the prize without him even realizing it. Meanwhile, a group of seasoned cowhands joined forces, including old Rufus, a weathered rancher who had seen many adventures in his day. He gathered fellow ranchers and shared tales about the landmarks marked on Daisy's hide, hoping to decode the tattooed map together. With their horses saddled and supplies packed, they set out on the trail. As each group ventured into the prairie, excitement buzzed in the air. They followed the whispers of stories shared by townsfolk and cowboys alike. Little did they know that their paths would soon cross, leading them into unexpected challenges and thrilling encounters as they searched for Daisy and the legendary treasure she carried on her back. The prairie was alive with adventure as treasure hunters assembled, eager to stake their claims in this unfolding story. As the treasure hunters traversed the expansive prairie, they encountered a series of challenges that tested their resourcefulness and determination. Jake, riding confidently on Bella, was the first to face an obstacle. While navigating a rocky terrain, he stumbled upon a deep ravine that separated him from a group of cattle grazing peacefully nearby. With quick thinking, he spotted a fallen tree spanning the gap. He urged Bella forward, carefully guiding her across the makeshift bridge, his heart racing as they made it safely to the other side. Meanwhile, Eliza shadowed Jake with stealth, her sharp eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Just as she thought she could slip past unnoticed, she found herself face to face with a territorial coyote pack. Sensing their intent to protect the area, she cleverly used some scraps of jerky from her saddlebag to distract them, leading them away so she could slip back into pursuit. Old Rufus and his group experienced challenges of their own. While discussing landmarks to follow based on Daisy's map markings, they accidentally wandered into a patch of thick brush filled with prickly thorns. Navigating their way out became a task of teamwork as they helped each other through, laughing and sharing stories along the way. Just as evening approached and shadows grew long across the prairie, unexpected rain began to fall again. With spirits high and camaraderie growing among the hunters, they pressed on together through the refreshed landscape. Each encounter brought them closer not only to Daisy and the treasure, but also to one another as newfound friends united under the shared thrill of adventure. As the treasure hunters continued their quest for Daisy, the bonds of friendship deepened amidst the backdrop of competition. Jake and Rufus often rode side by side, sharing stories and laughter that lightened the weight of their journey. They encouraged each other in navigating difficult terrains and celebrated small victories, such as spotting a grazing herd or identifying a landmark from Daisy's map. Their connection grew stronger, built on mutual respect and teamwork as they worked together to decode the intricate markings. Meanwhile, Eliza began to feel a rivalry brewing with Jake. Though she admired his bravery, His naive optimism grated on her cunning nature. She often found herself wishing to outsmart him, planning to take the treasure for herself rather than sharing it with anyone else. As she shadowed him closely, she tried to undermine his small victories, raising doubts about his abilities in front of others. This tension heightened one afternoon when Jake and Rufus stumbled upon a hidden water source. As they celebrated their find, Eliza watched from a distance, feeling envious and frustrated. She knew that water would be crucial for all the hunters and saw an opportunity to sabotage their efforts. Although friendships flourished within some groups, rivalries simmered in others, creating an underlying tension that kept everyone on edge. As they trekked onward through the prairie, the balance between collaboration and competition shaped their adventure. Each step forward brought them closer not only to Daisy but also to understanding themselves and each other amid growing friendships and fierce rivalries. As the treasure hunters continued their journey, they began to realize that their adventure was about more than just gold and riches. One evening, as they gathered around a campfire under the vast night sky, Jake shared stories of his childhood and the simple joys of teamwork. He spoke of the times he and his friends had worked together to round up cattle, emphasizing how those moments felt like true treasure, full of laughter and camaraderie. Rufus nodded in agreement, recalling many adventures from his own past where the bonds formed with fellow ranchers were what he cherished most. "It's not just about what you find at the end," he said with a warm smile. "It's about who you share it with along the way." Eliza, listening quietly, began to reflect on her rivalry with Jake. She had always prided herself on being independent and clever, but seeing the genuine connections they had made among the groups stirred something within her. The thrill of competition started to fade as she recognized that cooperation could be more rewarding than going it alone. The next day, when they discovered another clue related to Daisy's map, instead of keeping it to herself or attempting to outdo Jake, Eliza chose to share her insights with him and Rufus. This shift marked a turning point in their quest, illustrating that true treasure lay not only in hidden riches but also in trust, friendship, and shared experiences. As they drew closer to Daisy, each character learned valuable lessons about the power of teamwork and the importance of relationships forged through adventure. With every challenge they faced together, their understanding of treasure evolved from mere material wealth into something far more valuable, a sense of belonging and connection that would last a lifetime. After days of searching and bonding, the treasure hunters finally found themselves at the towering cliffs overlooking a hidden valley that the map from Daisy suggested was their destination. The air buzzed with anticipation and tension as Jake, Rufus, and Eliza stood together, peering down into the lush expanse below. The sun began to dip low, casting long shadows that danced across the ground, marking the moment for their final approach. Just as they prepared to descend, a rival group of treasure hunters appeared at the edge of the valley, led by a particularly crafty rancher named Cole who had been tailing them. Cole and his crew eyed Jake's group with a mix of greed and determination. "Looks like we've found you first," Cole sneered, his hands resting on his hips. "That treasure is ours for the taking." Jake felt a surge of adrenaline as rivalries flared. Eliza instinctively positioned herself in front of Jake and Rufus, ready to confront Cole, her competitive instincts kicking in once more. "Not if we get to it first," she retorted sharply. With tensions high, both groups strategized their moves, each wanting to claim Daisy and her treasure map for their own. As they began to approach one another cautiously through the valley, unexpected obstacles arose. Loose rocks gave way underfoot, and low-hanging branches swatted at them from above. In the chaos of the advancing confrontation, Jake realized that this fight wasn't just about treasure, but also about proving his worth and protecting his newfound friends. He called out to Eliza and Rufus, urging them to work together against the impending showdown rather than against each other. In that pivotal moment, they made a choice. They would band together to face whatever came next, determined to find Daisy. And as they each moved forward resolutely, they understood that their united strength might just lead them to victory. In the climactic showdown, Jake, Eliza, and Rufus coordinated their efforts, navigating the obstacles of the valley with newfound determination. As they worked together against Cole and his crew, a mix of quick thinking and teamwork led them to the very spot where Daisy awaited, unharmed yet unclaimed. The moment they spotted her, the rivalry faded. They had won not just the treasure but a deeper understanding of what truly mattered. Once the dust settled and the rivals retreated, the group gathered around Daisy, examining the intricate map on her hide. It pointed to a hidden cache of coins, real treasure that sparkled under the afternoon sun. However, as they split the riches, laughter and stories overshadowed the gold itself. They realized that the memories made and friendships forged during their adventure were far more valuable than any amount of treasure. The legend of Daisy soon spread beyond their tight-knit group, inspiring others in nearby towns to share tales of friendship and adventure across the prairie. Jake, Eliza, and Rufus became local heroes, known not just for finding the treasure but for championing teamwork and trust. Their escapades transformed into stories shared by campfires, emphasizing that real treasure lay in connections made along the journey. As they returned home, each character carried with them a piece of that legend, a reminder that life's greatest adventures are often found in friendship, unity, and shared experience. The tale of Daisy and the treasure map continued to captivate hearts, turning the prairie into a landscape rich with stories of hope, camaraderie, and daring dreams.